All right, so basically, I'm showing you the three best professional level grade saws I've got access to. And I just had a long conversation with John, and John's like, "Yeah, man, the 372, it just nobody has good 372s coming out of China." I said, "Well, John, John knows I do. I think he'll probably be finding out pretty soon." That's an 070. Now, I get funny messages about this. "Oh, that saw doesn't even have a chain brake. I wouldn't fool with that cheap, junky Chinese stuff. Oh, that saw weighs a metric ton. That's a stupid saw." Well, let me tell you, this saw was a still saw for 51 freaking years. It started out as a Contra. It's 105 cc's. The last time I think it was made in German factories was 2011. The last time I think it was probably produced or at least sold in the United States would have been, I don't know, the 80s, 90s. Somebody tell me that knows. Somebody that knows and remembers. I'm 51 years old. I don't know and remember. I got into saws in my late 20s. I've been operating still 666 that I bought original and 660. I've been milling for 20-something years. John's going to pick up a bunch of walnut right now. I told him I've got walnut that I slabbed out from 2 trees. I still got it. I've been waiting to build my dream furniture with it. I got my property set up now. I'm going to be milling for a timber frame house. You're going to see that in July and August if all the health and everything holds up and I get to doing it. So I just messaged this guy named Scott Strauss. I gave him my number. He said I need to learn how to run a chainsaw. What he's talking about specifically is that starting, where I say it takes 9 pulls to start a still, or a copy of a still. So I got videos out there that have got like 150,000 views of me dumping a little bit of fresh fuel on, and it's a short, so I can't explain it very well on detail. So I dump a little fuel here. Otherwise, I got to spend 9 pulls, and my shoulder just can't handle starting several hundred saws or 20 saws or whatever it is, 10 saws. I can't just pull on it all day long. I'm going to get a repetitive injury in my shoulder. So now maybe somebody suggests pull this slowly. Okay, well, that might work. That trick might work. I'm going to try that a few times. I'll even do some videos when I have some more fresh stills to run, copies that is. So Scott Strauss says he's a master mechanic, so he's telling me I need to learn how to run a saw. And he was telling me if I adjusted the carburetor, the saw would work just fine. No, a new saw, how are you going to adjust a carburetor on a new saw beyond factory settings if it hasn't run yet because there has been no fuel in the tank and no fuel in the line? This is funny. I love subscribers and I love comments, and it's okay for controversy. But when you come at me with some bullshit about learn how to start a saw, what are you talking about? Learn that a saw designed by Stihl of this variety, this model, doesn't start in 1, 2, or 3 pulls when you first put fuel in the tank. Yeah, maybe you could pull this slowly and get it primed. Maybe that'll work. Maybe you can get fuel in the tank, priming it like that slowly. But I either never knew about that trick or I never had success with it. Maybe I never tried it or retried it, but maybe I never knew. I don't know. But I will be trying pulling it slowly and seeing if it'll actually prime, and it might. But otherwise, you can't start it in 1, 2, or 3 pulls. All of these saws that I have start in the first pull when hot and the 3rd pull when not hot, when there's fuel in the line. Okay, now that we've got all of that addressed, I'm anxious. Scott Strauss, will you accept the challenge, or do you want to modify your thoughts on the whole issue? Anytime I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. Okay, like I'm wrong. For example, maybe I'm wrong that 372s by Husqvarna are not discontinued. I thought they were. I thought I heard from some dealers they were discontinued. I've searched, and it seems that maybe they're being sold, maybe they're reintroduced. I don't know. Somebody comment on this for us. Let us know. But John's going to find out that what we got here, and the cylinders are on the channel. The cylinders are in detail. I got my factory owner to video the cylinders, and if you look at my message about F around and find out, I found some details. My factory that gets these this is no joke. I'm not going to try to prove it because I'm not going to give out that many secrets. My factory that makes this gets their cylinders from the same factory that are being made for the world's most famous brands of chainsaws right now. No joke. Folks, there's a lot of stuff going on with Chinese chainsaws that you don't understand. And I'm not going to try to tell you that they're all great because they're not. So I've told you to look at reviews and be cautious. And I'm telling you, I'm going to hold to it for a long time. And everything I talked with John, well, there's secrets I can't share. We're not going to share all the secrets. But You know, you got to be cautious about internet saws, eBay and Amazon. I'm just going to tell you, at least right now, maybe that'll change. I don't sell a lot of saws. I'm not a high volume guy. I'm not trying to be a millionaire. You know, I got different philosophies on money and quality of life. You know, I'm fighting the fact that I may be blind in a number of years. I got glaucoma. That's not for sympathy. That's just to let you know what's going on in my mind. I'm doing these saws right now because I need some saws, and it is kind of fun to me. It's something that I got into. I'm kind of proud of the networks that I've been able to develop. It's really fun to provide somebody with a good piece of equipment that works. You know, that works great. I have had not one single complaint on my 660 since I've been getting them from this factory, and now it's about 2 years. I have had not one single complaint about this saw right here since I've been getting it from this factory, and it's about 1.5 years, 2 years. They're being used professionally daily by loggers and tree arborists. Do you know what that means? No, I haven't sent my saw to Dino Joe. Dino Joe's cool. He does cool stuff. I'm not an expert like that. I don't port. I don't need to run this on a dyno. It cuts wood professionally. That's all I need. A lot of people are commenting, yeah, I don't need it. I don't need them tested. I just need them to work. I need them to run. And if they run and work, you don't need, nothing to Dino Joe. It's cool. That's a whole neat niche. And anybody into performance saws, I'm not yet into performance saws. I don't know if I'm gonna get into performance saws. I'm into professional grade saws. Let's talk about this big bastard beast again. Okay, I've got 880s. For me, if you put 880, I got an original 880 from Stihl that I bought so I could mill up this big pine tree because I didn't want to burn up my Stihl 660 and 066, and I don't literally mean burn up. I just meant, why do I need to use them so hard if I want to kind of keep them? I mean, I could use 880 kind of hard. It's a bigger motor. It might, it's time to just get a third saw so I can keep these saws the rest of my life because they're not going to be made forever. And here we are with cheap, junky Chinese chainsaws that are actually kick-ass. So every time I say that, you need to understand I'm being sarcastic because there's a lot of misinformed people out there. This 070 is 105 cc's. I've got 121.6 cc that's working great. I heard from my buddy Brad in Magnolia, Mississippi, who I guess he's talked to Dino Joe, and he's told me Dino Joe's got a 090 cylinder and a 070, and it's running fine. The time that we tried that in the factory, it blew up. Now, I don't mean blew up as an explosion. I mean it was probably not balanced right. Whatever technician that they assigned to do that work, it didn't turn out. So I didn't know. But of course, you got to try more than once. And I'm not going to give up. I got 4 cylinders I could try, and I'm sure Brad might be excited about trying to work with me on it. And I'll get some 070s, and we'll put these 090 cylinders in them, and we'll see what we can do to get it nicely balanced or whatever it takes. And we'll see if we can produce a 090, 070. Of course, the 090 I heard from this guy contacted me, real cool guy. I need to call him. He's in San Antonio, but unfortunately he murdered a hell of a lot of sequoias and or redwoods in California. So he ran a 090 in the 70s, and he ran it a lot, and he talked about how amazing it was and how powerful it was, 137 cc's. So I get comments about this saw, how it's just a piece of junk, not because it's necessarily from China, but because of the design. But people are not understanding that it is a Stihl design from 1959 until the 2011, 51 years. It started as the Contra. Somebody on YouTube's got a nice Contra antique that they end up running. They borrow it from somebody, they take it out, they run it. I don't think they cut with it necessarily. But these are freaking incredible, in my opinion. Now, the other day I did have one where this was stuck down, and somebody noticed it on the video because I did the video before I noticed that. And what else am I going to tell you? I'm going to be milling with these. I got a bunch of these I'm going to mill with. I got one I got to mill with for about 20 hours before I send it to my guy in Ohio. The guy that had the 880 problem from running 1 to 50. And then from talking to John and from talking to some other people, I think there is something interesting happening with 1 to 32 to 1 to 40. And the idea is that 1 to 32 is plenty on lubrication, but it holds the heat too much. And so the saw gets hotter with 1 to 32 than it does to 1 to 40. And that seems to be a theory that may be true. I'm not suggesting you test it or try it. I've been advising everybody to use 1 to 32, and everybody that makes these, including there's a lot of engineers out there in some of these factories. Like one of the factories I deal with or have dealt with a lot has 3 engineers. and they say that everyone says 1 to 25. Now 1 to 25 is real juicy, but 1 to 32 is what I mean. After it's broke in, I imagine 1 to 32, but maybe I don't think these can handle 1 to 40. But like I say, I'm not an expert on this cylinder metallurgy stuff, porting and whatnot, exhaust and everything. Feel free to comment. I like comments. The comments that I'm going to end up deleting are, yeah, you got shit saws, why don't you support America? You know, you got cheap, junky Chinese chainsaw clones that I wouldn't even give you $100 for that trash. You guys are just fools that comment like that. I'm just going to delete. I mean, you're only going to cost me a little bit of thumb skin. Little thumb skin. I might even respond to you about being the fool that you might be. Not that everybody out there is fools. I appreciate the comments. Every time I get a nice comment, I thank the nice person for commenting, for the nice comment. So these are the 3 best saws I've got. I do have some 381s as well. 381s are going to be made to as high a standard as that from my factory that produces that right there. I've got amazing partnership going on with John. I'm going to let him announce it. I'm going to let him try to help encourage the development of my channel as much as he can, being that I'm not necessarily going to turn it into a masterpiece of professionalism and editing and whatnot. But you're going to see me cutting with these saws on mills. I've milled for 20 years. It's been a little while. I've got property. I got trees in the water I got to pull out that have been preserved, and we're going to be trying to make a timber frame house this summer because my wife is just on me too much. I hear every day about getting her a nice place to live, and it's all about making that place now. So I want you to like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to leave comments, and if you go as far as leave me the type of comments that, you know, America, you Chinese supporter, you communist, you got junk saws. Well, there have been junk saws. I'm not trying to tell you they're not, but I found some good ones, guys. If you want them, you want them. If you don't, you don't. I'm a couple $100 higher than the internet prices, so you want to go ahead and order you an internet saw. I heard some more things today about internet saws, and you know, you kind of take your chances. You got customer service with me. I will not let one fail on you and not let you suffer. You'll have a saw that runs no matter what. No matter what, you'll have a saw that runs. Now, you might put the wrong freaking gas, and I'll still try to help you, but damned if it won't. It's going to be ugly if you put the wrong gas. But I mean, I'll still help you, you know, best I can. Like, subscribe, share, take care.